Got a Blues Junior here. It's not that old an amp. The black panels didn't start that long ago, and it's filthy. The ticket says, power is on, no signal, needs new handle. Well, yeah, but no signal? Are you sure? I don't understand letting amps get this filthy. Let's open it up and see what's waiting us inside. I went to slightly loosen the hardware on the sides and found that this screw here is in there at a weird angle and has stripped. Chassis abuse. See if I can even get it out without it snapping off. Well, it takes a lot of force to bend a steel screw like this, but someone sure exerted it. Well, someone had been in here before, I could tell, because it had a missing screw on the rear panel. The 84s are at this weird angle. This retainer that they use often twists the tubes around. It's not that great an idea. The board itself seems to be in pretty good shape. The IC caps aren't visibly leaking, but the input jack has just been blowed up. So, no signal. I don't know how someone manages to do that, but they sure as hell did. Let's see what's awaiting us and how bad it is. They managed to break the center connector off the RCA cable going to the reverb tank. I mean, how do you even do that? I'm not sure I should send this amp back. This person's mean. Well, aside from that broken input jack, everything else on the board looks okay. This is really bright. Sorry, I'm going to make it a little bit nicer for you guys. All the other solder joints look okay. As much dust as what was up top, I need to clean all the pots. And because they broke the RCA cables, I got to change them out, and they're hardwired to the board, so got to get some new cables. Let me pull the chassis out so I can pull the speakers so I can access the tank. We'll see if the tank needs to be replaced as well. The paddle up here cleaned up pretty nicely. It's amazing how much better things look when you keep them clean. Well, I see why they were messing with the RCA cable. This tank's busted. Still don't know how they managed to break the RCA cable off in it. But new tank, new cable. Well, I've got this at this view. Let me see if I can get the light adjusted so you can see what I want to show. These nuts are on the back of the screws that hold the baffle to the cabinet, and they almost always go loose. I believe they're number 6. Let me see if I got my 5/32 handy. So the socket on one side, deep well is even better, but this will reach. Then a number 2 screwdriver on the other, and I just make sure that they're all tight, because they almost never are on the Fender Blues and Hot Rod series. The wood expands and contracts through the seasons. The metal stays the same, and the end result is you have a loose baffle that wants to vibrate and cause issues. It's a pain in the butt to do this if the chassis is in place. And it's a pain in the butt to remove the chassis. And in just a minute, I'll show you what can happen if you remove the chassis the wrong way and why that screw is bent. All right, see this bend here? The entire chassis was bent out, pulled into the side of the wood, and that's why that screw is going crazy. So I'm going to do something really radical and tap it a few times with a hammer to see if I can get the whole thing to just flatten up. Okay, and I got to admit, there are days when it feels good to just have an excuse to hit something. The last thing I'll do for now, because I've got to order reverb tank, correct reverb cables, long bushing switchcraft jack with insulated washers, because I'm not putting in the original input jack. Those do break, though this one certainly broke with a vengeance. And replacement screw for the one that's all bent. Is before I close it up for right now, just so I don't forget to do it later, I'm going to take a number 2 screwdriver and make sure the speaker screws are tight. Now I don't want them to be cranked, but I shouldn't be able to turn it easily with 2 fingers. Should have to use a little bit of the wrist to get those to work. Fender doesn't apply them with any kind of lock washer, tooth, or compression or anything. So just like the screws in the Baffle, they can come loose as the wood expands and contracts, and the metal does not. So it's good just to make sure that they're just past finger tight. If I were doing Blues Juniors all day, every day, I'd have a torque wrench set to a specific torque for this, and I could tell you what the setting would be. But I found that if I can stop doing it with just 2 fingers, I can't do any more, then I give it the whole wrist, just a little bit more past that. That's quite good. So, while this amp looked like hell when it came in and had been abused, an input jack, 2 screws, a reverb tank, and reverb cables. This is all cheap stuff. This is not going to be a massive bill. The output tubes that came with don't have massive discoloration. I will cool the bias on this amp like I do with all Blues Juniors, just to make these last a little bit longer. They're a little bit discolored, but not bad enough that I'm necessarily going to not trust them. I will confirm that for sure before I button the amp up finally. But I don't think at this point that we're that likely to need new tubes. I could be wrong.